Alrighty, welcome everybody to Run, Race, Repeat, the live show where we talk about all things running, racing, training. If it has anything to do with running, we will talk about it. I'm Doug Pierce, coming to you from Staten Island, New York, and I'm joined by Brett O'Macy in Dover, Maine. Brett, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. We've had
Yeah.
time to prep, so how's my mic? I don't know what the hell this is a headset. I don't
Yeah,
even.
you're sounding good. Your levels sound
All
good
right,
to me.
okay. My levels
So
okay. Levels are good. Good.
yeah,
All right.
Yeah. So, and if you join us in chat, go ahead and say hi. Let us know you're there, so we know we're not talking to nobody.
I mean, somebody. I mean, right
Somebody.
now it's just a blank screen. And unless, wait, Doug, am I able to see the questions or comments, or are you just able to see it?
Actually, it's just gonna be me. It's gonna be right now, but I'll
Okay.
I'll bring them
All
up.
right.
Yeah. I actually have it
I'm the
set.
sidekick. All right, I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
it. All
Well.
right.
See, normally I have it set up where I can bring the comments on where you can see them, but that's not working
That's
tonight.
fine.
So
Okay.
we're just
All
gonna
right.
have
Let's.
to do it the old-fashioned way, and I'll have to read. I'll have to read and tell you.
Read them words
Um,
good. Okay.
yeah, I'll read them
All right.
words. So, so for today, we're going to be talking about just generally running during the pandemic, our experiences there, and also we're going to talk about virtual races, something that I don't really have much experience with, but Brett, I know you have at least a little experience with that.
It's,
But before we get
yeah.
there, let's do the check-in, where we're going to talk about our training that we've done this past week, how it went. So, do you want to start or you want me to start?
Doug, go ahead and start if you want to.
Okay, well, I basically have just been getting back into running. Part of the reason I wanted to do this show is not only just to get more experience streaming and talking with you, Brett, but also
Right.
accountability because we do the show and I can't look into the camera and say and tell the internet I did 0 miles, but I drink some beer. But I drink some beer.
Yeah.
I can't say
Light
that.
beer. Light
Yeah,
beer.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
ex-
exactly.
well, I have my rum and ginger right here.
Rum and ginger, nice. I got
Uh,
the white claw going on. I got into
White Claw.
the wife's white claw. I
Is
broke into
this
that.
one of the producers' requests, or is this
Not a
is this
sponsor.
your request here?
Not a
Okay.
sponsor. White claw is not a sponsor.
No, I
Although,
meant like wife. I meant like wife request, not like
oh no
not.
no. I definitely broke into her stash and took it.
Oh,
Um,
girl.
yeah. That's what happens when you're married.
All right. All
What's
right. Okay.
what's mine is
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is part of the
Oh,
vow.
that's right. That's right.
But
Uh,
last week I only ran like a couple of times, like 30 minutes. But I'm
okay.
off. But I'm off to this week. I'm off to a much better start. Where Monday I did a like kind of like a light workout where I did 8 by 1 minute at 5K effort.
Oh, you did.
Uh,
Okay.
and
Wow.
and that
You went.
was yeah. Well, actually, do I have this book? Um, I have been reading this book, Build Your Running Body, by Pete McGill. By Pete McGill,
Okay.
Pete McGill is like legit master runner. Like he broke 15 minutes in the 5K, like when he was like 50 something. So this guy like knows how to train as a master, and I'm doing his intermediate plan, and I'm basically anytime he gives a range, I'm doing the lower end of the range because I'm so out of shape. And if he gives the option of run or take it off, I'm taking it off, at least for the
Okay.
first few weeks until I get a little stronger. But this 8 by 1 minute at 5K pace is really just about getting stronger and preparing my body, the tissues and ligaments, so that I can do actual training and I won't get injured when I do, more big boy workouts, basically.
Okay. All right.
And so I did that. I took Tuesday off, and then today I did like I think 35 minutes with the running stroller. So, which is actually good because the running stroller,
With kitties in the stroller?
with my toddler, with Emerson,
Both?
my toddler.
Both?
Yeah, just
Just
one,
Emerson. Okay.
just one.
Okay. Okay.
And so, which I actually like running with the jogging stroller, getting back into shape because it actually forces you to slow down. Right? You can't really get
I
ahead of
mean,
yourself with a
I mean,
jogging
Doug,
stroller.
that term does bring up some bad memories, which I can get to later on. Not to keep
Okay,
going, but I do
okay,
have a little bit of PTSD with the jogging stroller. I'll
okay,
explain that later. Keep
okay,
going. Uh,
okay. Well, that's really it. That's really it, and that's what I've done so far. We'll talk about the miles ahead, my training for the rest of the week.
okay.
But you go ahead and I'm gonna try to fix your cam a little bit here. But go ahead
Is it is it what's wrong with it?
yeah, I was just gonna bring you down a little bit. Don't worry about it. I can fix it in the software. If you want to go ahead.
Okay.
No, that's good. That's good. You're good now.
All right.
What was your
I
training
mean,
like this past week?
it's what it's been the last probably 6 weeks. Is doing roughly about a 5K to 4 miles a day, probably 5 days a week. And I'm not doing really any repeats. I've been doing about 8, 15 paces. I mean, I think the biggest difference is doing core for the first time consistently in my life. And like for some reason, I'm like going full like core mode during this quarantine, like talking like prison workout, like doing like about 20 minutes
You got the
20 minutes
tats,
a day.
so.
Yeah, they're the tats. Doing like no weights core and 10 minutes before the run, 10 minutes after. I'm telling you, it's made a world of difference for me, which I've never done before.
Uh,
But so I'm just saying, like Doug, I think 5, 6 days a week for the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks, of doing 3 to 4 miles a day.
that's great, man. But let's put some context here, though. I mean, neither one of us have like a goal race right now, right? I don't think you do. You don't have
Not,
anything.
not even a goal
Yeah.
virtual race, my
Not
man.
okay. We'll get to
Just
that.
we'll get to that
Yeah,
later.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, really, I think anybody who's out there who has struggled with trying to work out during a quarantine, whether they are working, whether they are actually physically working at their job or working from home. Um, I'm sure, like me, like everybody else, finding a motivation amongst all this, and I kind of decided after the first week of being home that I should just run.
Yeah. Oh, so you
But
mean
Doug, there is.
okay?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll kind of get to this too. But you're saying that at some point you were like too afraid or too hesitant to run.
Oh, not afraid. I mean, just no, not even afraid. But I mean, the first week I was running, but I was wondering. I was like, I've always had a goal, and without a goal, I'm really not a great. I'm not a great motivator.
Yeah, yeah.
The motivation, I'm not sure where it came from, but I will say that I did find one motivation that you might be interested in. Is what I did last winter, which I completed for the first time, was the run streak. The
Okay,
Runners World, the hashtag Runners World RW run streak, whatever. 41 straight days.
okay.
Um,
Oh wow.
the the it's twice a year, but the next time I believe is coming up through July 4th. 41 days. I'm going to try and go beyond that.
That's
Uh, it's a
yeah.
it's a mile a day at least for 41 straight days.
Okay. Um, that's cool. Um, we'll talk maybe a little bit more about that later in the miles ahead.
Okay. Okay.
But so before we get to our main topic, actually, I
Yeah.
think you had something you want to mention. You got like the latest. You got like the latest version, the latest edition of Runner's World. Show it off there. Run every day. Okay, it's about run. It's about okay. That's perfect then. It's about
Which,
run streaks, or that's the cover
yeah.
story. That's the cover story
I
at
mean,
least.
No, look, man. I didn't see this. I didn't see this mag. I didn't see this issue and been like, oh, run streak. I'm gonna do it. No,
Yeah, right.
it's
You're
been
like,
going
everybody's
on for
doing it. I gotta do it.
everyone's doing it, but no, like last November, I believe it was um, Thanksgiving Day to January 1st was the first run streak.
Okay. Okay.
So I did that. I did
Yeah.
that. Um, but the next one's coming up. But there's some great stories in here about people who have done it for different reasons, whether it's depression, it's a breakup, it's stress at work. But I mean, those are important. But the to me right now, the focus is a race, a 10K race, and the title of this article is "I ran a 10K through the world's largest wine cellar." Am I right, ladies? This is definitely going to be.
Girl. Girl, you had me at wine
Had
cellar.
me at wine cellar. So this takes place um, in okay, it's a Eastern European country ish.
Okay.
It's called it's a European country called Moldova.
Okay, yeah.
Um, so there's 125 miles of underground passages in this kind of cellar,
How many
and
miles? How many miles?
there's 125 miles of underground passages.
Wow.
Now it's a indoor slash outdoor race.
Okay. So you're not
Uh,
underground the whole you're not underground the whole time.
no, but one of the runners talked about the fact that first of all, GPSs do not work in this. You have no idea how long you've gone for. You almost get disorientated about when you're where you are, and but at the end of it, there's like a bunch of wine and food. There's
Okay.
dancers and not dancers, but there are
Yeah, right.
dancers.
Right.
Um, but like some really good wine. It was cold as hell. But this guy said it was like an amazing race.
Okay, so
Moldova,
this is not the debut version of this race. This is like an ongoing race.
well, it's once a year, I believe, what he
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
I believe it's in January. But
Okay.
it got me thinking about, a later topic of, how much do runners want to invest in foreign running?
Okay, explain that. You mean like right now when maybe like races are
No,
not
I, I
available
think
to
I
them
think
and
I meant I think I meant in general. I think I
okay.
meant like right
Okay.
now. Obviously, it's not on people's minds per se, but I believe that like I've run marathons in Jacksonville. That's as far as I've gone for a race.
Yeah.
Um, but part of me thinks like why not invest in a race overseas?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, destination like marathoning and stuff.
Destination
That's a
marathon,
huge thing. That's a huge thing. A lot of people like plan their vacations around
absolutely.
marathons, which I have never been a big fan of because, I mean, it, just because if I'm running a marathon, I don't want to do anything before it, but prepare or focus on it.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
I'm gonna run so hard in the marathon that I'm gonna be trashed for like days after. So I've never really
Well,
gotten the appeal of that.
well, I don't. Okay, let me just say this: running in Jacksonville, the first 3 days I was there, and I will say this, Doug. When I reserved the motel in Jacksonville like a year earlier,
Yeah, oh yeah, wise
uh,
choice.
um, right? It was
Yeah,
cheap, right? It was called
yeah,
like the
yeah,
Scott. I don't want to say the name, but it was like
yeah.
it sounded European. I was like, oh, fancy. Um, but when I went to call them about the weekend before I went to Jackson. I flew out and I couldn't find the number, so I went on Google, and the first thing that shows up is a TripAdvisor review of the motel, and the first thing I see on the title is like it's like roaches, hookers, and like whatever. And I was like, I'm like, I
Should have
was
I
like,
should have read the reviews before I booked this place.
I was like, there's no way. I was like, it was roaches, hookers, and like and like dirty, like dirt. I don't know what the hell. Um, I was like, there's no way. I'm like, it's some older person who probably is
Uh,
just get off my lawn,
right,
yelling
right.
at the clouds. But then I go there, and sure enough, the first night, what did I see? I saw hookers. I did see a roach in my hotel, and I saw cigarette burns in my pillowcase.
Nice, fancy
So,
indeed.
anyways, my point is, for 3 days I was there. I was preparing. I ran the race. I felt great after. I was there for 3 more days. Saw some friends that were there. I felt fine. But I do feel like you could, in fact, do a destination race and really get the most out of it after the race,
Yeah.
possibly.
Okay. Maybe this is a topic for another show because I think we could kind of riff on this for
Oh,
a
of
while.
course.
But let's move on to kind of our main topic today, which is
Okay.
running. We'll start with our general experiences running during the pandemic because I know I haven't been doing it for that long, just like the last couple of weeks, really. But I've been running. I am in New York City. I'm running with a face mask on, and
Yeah, yeah, right.
when it's just
Yeah.
me, I will actually run on side streets, like in the middle of the road.
Okay.
I don't do that with a running stroller, of course. Stick to the
Right.
sidewalk then, but when it's just me, I'll run in the middle of the road to kind of stay away from people. And it's kind of funny, Brett, because you know, people. I think because there's been some press about the fact that the 6 feet social distancing advisement actually is not adequate when you're talking about running. That you actually need something closer to like 15 feet because when you're running, you're expelling air more forcefully and you're sucking it in
Right.
more forcefully. So your germs or whatever are they got more range, and so I think people
Right.
have you know are cognizant of that. And so I've had people like, or it might be just because I'm wearing a face mask running, which maybe people are like, whoa, this guy really doesn't want anybody near him, but or stay away from this guy. But I mean, everybody in New York City you're supposed to wear a face mask if you're going to like any place, any public place, really. But anyway, I've just been noticing kind of people like giving me this kind of wary look, which is interesting because normally when people look at runners, it's like bewilderment, like why is this guy running? What's he doing? Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Doesn't he have weights he can be lifting?
Yeah. Lift getting swole,
Yeah,
bro.
it
On
gets
the
swole. Gets swole.
no, man. Uh, yeah. Yeah.
But so I mean, yeah, it's really hasn't been too different than it normally would, aside from the fact that people are very wary of me and kind of give me a wide berth, which people are giving other people wide berths right now anyway. But I just feel like more than like when I've gone to the grocery store, it's different when I'm running. Like people are definitely like really steering clear. They'll go to the other side of the street. They'll go to the other sidewalk to avoid me.
Right.
So I
Right.
don't know what your experience. I mean, Dover is different, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm in a small town. We've had one confirmed case, and it's May, and now people argue about this and say, well, there's probably some people who's. I get it, but the point is, we have one confirmed case. Um Governor Mills has sort of allowed our county, amongst others, to open up things earlier. So, the past weeks and also next week, more things will open up.
Okay.
Um, do grocery stores still require face masks? They do.
Yeah.
I do follow that rule. When I run, I'm not really required to. people when they give me looks, I don't really know what the hell it is. I've been here for over a decade, and people here don't really run.
Yeah.
So when they see me run, it's like an alien. It's like beamed down into a field, and the alien is, you know, um, and that's me.
Yeah.
So I
Are
don't
the,
know if they're like upset that I'm running without a mask or that I'm just running.
yeah. So you don't
Because
wear a
nobody
mask when
else.
you run. Did you say
No.
that? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
I'm in a small town, and I
Yeah.
am going basically essentially one route, really one way and back.
I mean, you're not encountering many people on the road.
No, there. Okay, I will say though that and I look, I always support people who walk, but these three women that have walking sticks and they take up the whole sidewalk
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
won't move,
Yeah.
and they think that like because they're walking and I'm running that maybe I should just go around them. Um, they don't actually move out of the way. Um, it's a self-awareness thing that maybe people sometimes lack. But anyways,
Yeah.
so I
And so that's
the
not just
point
a New
is,
York. That's not just a New York thing.
oh no, this
Yeah.
is this is a universal. But people do walk here and there. It's rare. You'll find that in June, July, people do walk more until
Yeah.
August. The fair weather
Yeah.
walkers, joggers.
Yeah.
But
No, when it rains though, they won't go out when it
no, they will
rains.
not. But I don't counter a lot of you know
Yeah. Okay. So
cluster.
it's,
Yeah,
so what I'm hearing from you is it's not really an issue. It's not really a change at all. That's what I'm hearing from you.
it's not really an issue.
Aside from the
Um,
walking stick women, it's not
the
really a.
walking stick women just somehow walk the same time that I run almost every day, and they won't really move out of the way. Maybe because they have the walking stick. It's almost like when you
Do
have a
they?
speaking stick and you can't speak unless you have the stick, and you give it to somebody else. It's almost like they have the stick, therefore I have to go around.
Yeah. Right.
Uh,
Yeah. Are these women wearing LL Bean vests, and do they have like short hair?
um, no, but it's just yeah. I don't know what their deal is. And again, I support people working out when they can, but it's almost like this weird privilege they think they have.
Right.
Um, so I kind of just roll with it, but um,
You know what? And I guess this is a good point. I got to kind of get into the habit of doing this, but
sure.
for our viewers, if let us know, your experience running during the pandemic. I mean, has it kept you from running, or when you've got out there, has it really changed things for you? We really want to know. So go ahead and give us a message in chat so we can talk about it. All right, let's move on to then virtual races because we
Absolutely.
kind of we alluded to this. Oh, number two. What do you? I guess.
I got a dry cider. This is Urban Farm Fermentory, wild fermented super dry cider.
Oh, the dry
It's a
cider.
local support your local businesses, obviously.
Yeah. Um, have you been to Ricker Hill? Have you tried like Ricker Hill cider? Not to get too far off. Have you
I
been?
haven't, but
Okay.
I've heard about it.
All right. I gotta get there. We've been there. Well, I haven't gone to
Where
their cidery, I guess you call it. But
where's
I like ciders that are dry, which sounds like the one
dry
not sweet,
dry
not too sweet.
ciders?
Yeah, like the
Dry ciders.
whatever the Boone's Hill.
Uh,
What's it called? Like
Boone's Hill.
what's it called?
Lord have mercy.
No. What's it
Yeah,
called? The
like
popular one. That's like the Budweiser of cider. What's it called? I'm forgetting it.
Angry Orchard.
Angry Orchard. That's it. That's it. I was not even
Boone's,
close. Ang-
Boone's Farm dog. We were in college.
yeah,
You
that's
and I
yeah,
drank
yeah,
Boone's Farm.
yeah.
That
Okay, yeah,
was $4 a
that's true.
bottle,
That's
and
the wine.
it was horrible, but it was so good. It was so cheap.
Okay, what was I saying? So anyway, yeah, virtual races. So we were talking in the check-in that we don't really have any goal races coming up because, you know, in person, well, you know, races where everybody gets together and races against each other is not happening right now, at least in the United States, and it's probably not going to happen until the fall at the
Right.
earliest, at least in most places. And so the one exception is virtual races, which I did get this past weekend. The ex president of my ex running club here on Staten Island sent out this email blast inviting everybody to this Mother's Day virtual 5K. And
Wait, is this a time when we were running together and they were running at the same time, and we didn't run with them?
yes,
That,
it's that crew.
oh,
It's that
okay.
crew. Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, me being
Eh.
in a running club is kind of weird because I do train like by myself
I
almost
am
all the
I
time.
am in a running club, Doug. Though
What?
I'm in a running club.
What's your running club?
The Crows in
I'm
Maine.
running. I'm running this down. The Crows.
Yeah.
I'm running this down. By the way, I got to
Crow
change.
Crow Crow Athletics. They're heavily involved in different races, including the MDI marathon.
Really?
Oh yeah. They're in charge. I think. Yeah, they are. It's like really cheap to do it, and I haven't really run with anybody, but there is. You get discounts. You can have
Yeah.
group runs. Discounts on races. You can buy gear.
Yeah.
I thought maybe if I do run Boston next year, maybe I will invest in a Crow Athletics singlet.
Yeah. Definitely. I know I wore when I did New York in 2016. I wore the SIAC Staten Island Athletic Club. I
Ooh,
wore their jersey. Gave them some
whoa,
PR.
wow.
Yeah. But yeah, club. That's another
Yeah,
show
yeah,
topic. That's another show topic.
yeah. We can talk about that.
The merits why you might want to join a
Yeah,
club. But
yeah.
anyway,
Uh,
so I got
Virtual race.
yeah, I got this invite to a virtual race, and I was kind of like, I don't. I've done a little looking into it for the purposes of this show, but I did not know much before then. And
Okay.
again, if you're watching and you run a virtual race, let us know. Let us know what you thought. You though, Brett, have run a
I run.
virtual race.
I run one race.
Was it a 5K?
Um, it was a 5 miler. It was a Cinco de Mayo
Oh,
5 miler.
okay.
Run, walk, jog, whatever. And I ran it.
Yeah.
And let me just say that I've had friends before this whole thing were like, "You should do a virtual run." I'm like, that's freaking stupid. Like, I'm not gonna do. Oh my god, a virtual run? Am I gonna run indoors? I'm gonna use a Wii and have a little avatar,
Have the VR glasses on and be
little
like,
short, pudgy, like what's that movie called? Jesus, Avatar, the movie. I'm one of those.
Avatar.
I have my own avatar and I'm running on the Wii. Like what? I'm like no. But I will say that, I will say that a friend of mine sent me a link,
Yep.
and the swag you get, I
The
will say,
swag. Okay.
it enticed me. It's a long sleeve, cool skull shirt with the metal. You've those kind of things you get,
Yeah.
and a little goodie bag.
Okay.
I have yet to receive it yet, which kind of it pisses me off a little bit. But the point is that I've noticed that I'm getting a lot of these races on my feed, and I will say that the marketing technique for these are amazing. I mean, they really hit home to like what people love in terms of like leisure activities. You've got chocolate, wine, you've got I mean pop culture. I mean, you've got races that really do play into the wants of people.
Okay. So they've kind of upped their game in terms of what the swag, just what they're giving away. Like,
If you do the race and you upload, I mean, look, I will say this: I ran the race. I uploaded my time. I mean, I jogged it.
Yeah.
You have these booger eaters that probably just really go hard on it, and they either embellish their times
Yeah.
or they go so hard. Um,
Yeah. Right.
I jogged it. My name's in there. Um, I did it. I'm gonna get something in the mail
Yeah.
for it. My thing is, Doug, is that I need all the motivation I can probably get right now.
Yeah. I hear you, man. Yeah. I hear you. So you found it. So you just said then the implication is you found signing up for this virtual 5 miler to be motivating
Yeah,
to you.
to me, it's something. I think everybody out there, if you're listening right now, please a comment. But you feel me on this one. That everyone needs motivation. Um, and for me, it's just a goal of something.
Yeah. No, I understand that, and that's actually probably the first good reason I've heard to do one of these. No, okay, that's gonna be interpreted wrong because obviously a lot of these races support charities and things like that, like really good causes. So of course, just giving your money to those causes is a worthwhile thing. But in terms of your own training and your own motivation, your own goals, like a virtual race is like the competitive aspect is virtually
Yeah.
non-existent.
Yes.
I mean,
Unintended.
like for a lot of
Uh,
runners, us too here. I mean, we like to line up against other runners and compete. And we like to see how our time matches up against other people who ran on the same day, on the same course, in the same conditions. How do we line up? And a virtual race, has none of that. It's like the
no.
honor. It's like the honor system. You run it whenever on whatever route you want to do. I'm guessing that they don't award any like places or like prize
No.
money, right?
I mean,
That's
most
that's
most of the, I haven't seen anything like that, Doug. But I will say that I'm with you on this. You and I are competitive runners. Even at our age now, we still run, we still train for races. We still want to achieve a certain time. So trust me, do it. The point is, I think it has to be switching gears into going from what you're used to what the reality is right now, which is people are not actually racing. We can't have that competitive feeling.
yeah,
So what is something else? And I mean, this goes beyond you and me. This goes with people out there who struggle to find a reason to stay in shape or to have
yeah,
fun with running.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean because I do know that nothing is as motivating as plopping down that entry fee to some race, months down the line, and you were then like committed. You're like locked in, and then you start training for it, and that's like a great motivational force for you. And we really don't. I mean, I don't even know. Is like are like the big fall races? Are they even like accepting registrations right now? Like I don't even know.
Uh, I mean, that's
But
yeah.
but I mean, I guess I could see like you're running this virtual race, and it's at least something, right? It's at least some way that you can something you can participate in, and you get I guess some pretty cool swag. The way I've heard it kind of described is like a medal, like like a medal by mail type thing where you pay your entry fee so you can just get a medal. And because I know a lot of these virtual races, you mentioned the one you did, you'd at least have to go in and log your time, right? You had to do that before you
I mean,
before
well,
you got
okay.
before you got before you got your medal, before they sent you your medal, or not, or is that
Okay,
not true?
all right. To be honest, I don't know.
Okay.
All I that's a good question is all you have to do is pay that fee because I paid the fee, I ran the race, I registered the time.
Yeah.
but I didn't really think about what if I didn't register the time. And I think you do get this stuff
Okay.
I think if you pay the fee.
Okay, so they just send it to you. You sign up, and they'll send you the, as long as they get your money, they're sending you the medal, they're sending you the
I
chocolate,
don't know.
whatever.
I don't know for sure, but I do know. I have a feeling that it's like what if you paid a fee and you didn't actually register your time? I don't think the creators of this are thinking about your time. I think they're thinking about, did you pay your fee, and
Yeah.
then sending out the material.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Because I have heard. So I've heard when I was looking into this for today's show, I did hear kind of a couple things. I heard one, the organizations that just people who sign up, they just send you the medal, and you don't have to. I mean, you just get it. And then I've heard the other way where you have to sign up, and then you have to post a time. And it's the honor system, so you could just say, I did it in this time, and then they'll send you the medal,
Okay.
which to me is the more, at least go through that step of making people like lie to you if they're gonna lie. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah. Okay. Uh, I think going back to,
Because a medal
I think,
is, a medal is something you get when you
yeah,
complete
yeah.
the race. You know
I
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like are these okay? This is gonna all right. We're gonna get into like our like crotchetiness here, but like are these medals like labeled like virtual? Like do you get like I mean they're like physical medal. You get a physical medal, right?
For my Cinco de Mayo
Okay.
medal, I do get a physical skull medal.
Oh,
So
geez, hardcore. Okay.
no, but
Yeah.
I will say this: going back to the motivational part of this whole thing, um, I did focus on 3 marathons way before this whole lockdown thing happened, and I was set to train this spring,
Yeah.
um, and mentally, like when I found out that basically I knew that these were not going to happen, like I was in a very I
Funk.
was
Yeah.
defeated.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I had to switch gears. I had to accept it and kind of refocus. And I think virtual races, I mean, look, you and I both prefer the in-person
Oh yeah.
running these races.
Yeah.
Um, Virtual runs to me, I'm not like running 5 miles and I'm like, oh my god, my medal, I cannot wait to get
Yeah.
it,
Because
yay, I put it up.
virtual runs were a thing before the pandemic, like before the
I've
pandemic and
never
social distancing. No, I'm
never
pretty
heard
sure
of it.
they were a thing that happened, and
Never heard of
they
it.
will be a thing that still happens after the pandemic's over. But people like
uh,
us are not going to
I
be
mean,
doing. You're not going to do a virtual run after you can
dude,
do a
you'll
physical run
never,
again.
once things open up, which I'm hoping my goal is, if I'm still in the area in the fall, the goal for me is to start training for that MDI marathon in late October.
Okay.
Um, that's a race that I've heard great things. It's a perfect time. It's a time where like this whole lockdown thing might not be happening. So my goal is I want to train for that race.
Now, well, okay. So if you do the MDI, that's you'd start training what? Start training in the summer, right? For that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's actually not that
Um,
far away. Where you
it's
would
not, but
begin
it's
training for that.
something.
Yeah. That's cool. I mean,
But
I
being,
think,
but
yeah.
yeah, but being in Maine, Doug. I mean, being where that race is located, it's different than where you are. If you want to do a New York race, that'd be a lot tougher, I believe,
Oh
this
yeah.
fall.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like the New York Marathon. Like I don't know how they're gonna do that. There's just so many people just corralled together, literally. That it's I don't know how they're gonna even do that. But I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, MDI. I mean that's at least it's gonna be a beautiful.
You might want to think
race.
about maybe. You might want to think about.
Maybe I'm actually thinking about getting 5K fit before getting marathon fit. So
Okay.
maybe we could
All
talk about
right.
that
I mean, that's
in the
fine.
after
I'm just
section.
saying, this is a race that you have plenty of time to, if you want to run a marathon.
Yeah.
This could be, you
Well,
know,
actually, I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag here.
what?
My big goal, because I don't know what's gonna happen in the fall. None of us do, in terms of what's gonna happen with races. But I would actually like to do Saddleback next year. So
The old
like a year like a it's like a year. It would be like a year
what? The
from
old
this Memorial
the old
Day.
wedding grounds? Oh, damn! Wait,
Wait,
time
no,
out.
Sugarloaf. Sorry, not Saddleback. Sugarloaf.
Saddleback.
The other main ski loaf. The
I
other
was
main.
like, okay,
You're like I never
going
heard of
back there.
this. Yeah,
Wait,
we're
oh,
renewing our
Sugarloaf in April.
yeah. No, yeah, no. Sugarloaf. Sorry, Sugarloaf
All
is
right,
what I
wait,
meant.
the April. Wait, the
It's
marathon?
May. It's May. It's like Memorial. Yeah,
May,
yeah.
yeah.
Sugarloaf Marathon. Um,
I've well, look, if you, I'm telling you this that that's a race I've thought about. I live near there essentially.
yeah,
Um, and again, if I'm still around during that time,
yeah,
um, let's keep in touch about that because I would love to do, you know.
yeah. Oh yeah,
But no, but Doug, hold on, time out.
yeah,
Uh, Boston is next year, and if Boston happens, I'd be
yeah.
doing that.
You'll be doing
I
that in
I
April.
yeah,
Yeah,
I couldn't do, but
you could, but
we'll see.
you might not be able to go hard because you'd still be you know recovering from
Yeah.
that. Well, yeah, you might be you might be able to do it, but it would be tricky, and you would have to. It would be kind of like a wait and see thing. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
All right. Yeah. Anyway, okay.
Because you would have to obviously recover, and so you wouldn't be able to train during that time. So you would have to be able to just run it
Yeah.
off of the fitness that you just maintained
Yeah.
from your recovery. You wouldn't be like peaked or anything like that.
No.
But
No. That's
but
a cool. I mean, dude, look, man. I've had friends that ran that race, and
yeah,
it's highly rated.
yeah. I mean, it's a fast one. Let's get that out of the way. It's rated one of the
Hmm?
fastest. One of the like the races that everybody says if you want to get your qualifier for Boston, this is a good race to do, because I believe it's like a little uphill for the first 10 miles or so, and then it's like a gentle slope down.
Hmm.
But the reason I want to run it isn't because it's fast, but because I mean that's nice. But I have family that runs it and also helps organize it. My uncle Eugene helps organize it, and it's kind of just like it would almost be like a hometown marathon. Not really, but it would have that kind of that vibe for me. And it's also it took me about a year to go from out of shape the back in like 2015. When you gave
Right.
me the run bug.
Oh yeah.
So it took about a year for me to like go from like really out of shape to like in good shape. So that's about a year away. So I think that's a good like long term goal. And then before then, I want to get 5K fit. This kind of winter,
Okay.
around this time of this like this winter, and then start adding in the longer workouts, the longer long runs, and stuff
Okay.
like that. So I think we've left the topic of virtual races behind. But is there any final words you want to say about virtual races? Your kind of final verdict on what's your final verdict on virtual races, Brett?
Final verdict, Doug, is being a runner. I wouldn't say like a snobby runner, but definitely have I have reservations about people who do it for certain reasons. I think a year ago I would have been like, oh my God, virtual. But now I
Yeah,
understand like in this time people are you know th- things are different and people they want something to look forward to, something to motivate them, and you know some people just need a little bit different motivation than, let's say, a typical runner.
Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of like, so be it.
Yeah.
Um, would I do this if would I do that if you know under different circumstances? No, I would
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
But I understand why people do it. Do I like people who go hard on it, or they embellish their times? That annoys me.
Oh yeah.
Um, I
No.
I call them booger eaters, and
Yeah.
I don't really.
Yeah.
But besides that, people want to find a race that kind of connects to them,
Yeah.
whether it's wine, chocolate. There was a Anchorman ish type of deal, and the T-shirt you get has Ron Burgundy on the T-shirt. It's
Oh,
kind of
okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, to me, shirts appeal to me. So
Yeah. Okay.
so
You don't wear the shirt to the race, do you?
it's
Physical
like
race.
it's like going to the concert and you
Yeah.
wear the band of
Yeah.
of the concert. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It's funny.
I
My wife was gonna do that to one of these
what?
like a
Wait,
Memorial Day
what?
race. Yeah. And I'm like, what are you doing? You do not. You never wear the
Wait,
shirt.
what?
You never wear the
No.
shirt of the race like
Wait,
to the
what?
race. You just
What
don't do
race?
that.
What race was she gonna do this to?
It was the Memorial Day, which actually no longer. Well, I bet they were happy they decided to cancel it, but it's the Staten Island Memorial Day that the Staten Island Advance, the newspaper, our local newspaper, had put on for like years. It was like a historic thing, and just like a couple of years ago, they stopped. They stopped doing it. So it was that. This was obviously a couple of years ago, but where we did this. But I was like, "What are you
Where
doing?
the
Like, we're not.
shirt?
You're not
Where
wearing the
the
shirt.
where the shirt?
You're not
No.
wearing the. You're not wearing the race's shirt to the
Oh
race. Don't do
God,
it. Don't
no.
do it.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah. Uh, so
Okay.
okay, so moving on from virtual races. Oh yeah, my verdict. I think
Yeah.
they're
What was
cool.
your
I mean,
verdict?
what else are you gonna do, right? There's really no other option but to do like a virtual race. What I think would be cool is actually a more local thing for like local clubs and stuff to do. Is do you use like Strava or like Garmin
I
Connect or
do.
whatever?
I
You do use
use. I
Strava. You're on
use.
Strava.
I use Strava.
Yeah.
I do have a Garmin. Um, I use. I love to run.org.
Okay.
Uh, and that is basically you can. I love to run.org is basically where you can join challenges. Like, for instance, last year I joined running 1,000 miles in a year challenge.
Okay.
They have numerous challenges, and you can actually buy stuff like a T-shirt or a medal
Okay. Yeah.
um, of like the challenge, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Well, what I was getting at is, I know Strava has like these like segment like leaders where like a certain stretch of a given route, whoever has run that the fastest is the king of that route. You know what I'm talking about?
Jesus, I don't know.
Maybe in
I
Dover,
I up,
nobody else like runs, so you've never
I up
experienced this, but
I just upload. I have two followers.
yeah.
I upload my workouts
Okay.
manually.
Okay.
I don't know King of the Hill,
Okay.
whatever.
Well,
I don't
so
know
if
what.
you lived in a place with more runners, you might
Uh,
experience this where like Strava basically will predetermine these routes like from this street to this street, and maybe it's like a 2 mile stretch or whatever,
okay.
and it will track all the different runners who have run that stretch, and whoever's run it
Okay.
faster is like the king. And there's like this whole leaderboard board where you're like number one, two, three, four, five, six, whatever. I don't know how far it goes, but I think it would be cool to use a feature like that, like for some local club, and just be like, look, in Strava, whatever you use, here's the course. Like you have it as like one of these segments in Strava.
Right.
You have a month. Whoever runs this segment, like the fastest in this month. So that way, nobody has to get together. Everybody just runs it when they run it.
Right. Right.
Maybe, yeah. Whoever runs it like the fastest, like we're gonna allot our like prizes by, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that's the Strava's segment feature.
Okay.
They use that.
Okay.
I mean, even that's not foolproof because you could give like I could give my buddy from Ethiopia my GPS watch and have him run it. You know what I mean? That even that's not foolproof, but I think that would be like that would have that competitive element to it where at least
Yeah.
and the honor system would be much more effective there too because you like know these people, they're local to you. If somebody's clearly cheating, they're gonna look you in the eye at some point. You know what I mean? So I kind of thought that sounded like a cool idea, but you know.
Yeah. I mean,
But the
I
problem
don't.
is like from a race organizer standpoint, if you do something like that, you're immediately like cutting off most of your attendees, most of the people who are going to pay your race entry fee, because that's like this is really something that you would do unofficially as a club. You're not
Right.
going to get the kind of entry fee, signups doing something like that as you would. Hey, virtual race, run it anywhere in the world. Sign up now, get the swag. So anyway, just an idea. But we are running out of time, Brett. So let's move on to the miles ahead segment where we talk about what we've got coming up for our training, and if anything else you want to say about your any preparations you're making. I guess I'll start because I started talking about last week's training, but I'm just going to keep doing this plan. I think it's like tomorrow I'm going to be doing some hill, what they call it, hill strides, I think McGill calls them. And basically that's the old, like you find a pretty steep hill and you run like 10 seconds as hard as you can, or almost as hard as you can up it, walk back down and run up it. And you do that, like, I think I'll be doing that like 4 or 6 times because it's the first time I've done it. But I do know that back in like 2016 or even 2015, time flies, when I was like hardcore training, I did that training for Vermont. I did those like once to twice a week.
Right.
And they actually really made a big difference, I felt like, because they activate all of your muscle fibers. When you run up a hill as fast as you can, you got the fast
Right.
twitch, the intermediate twitch, the slow twitch. They're all firing. You're running, as long as the hill is not too steep, you're running with your good form and you're training the muscles that are, you know, what you use during your running stride
Right.
to be efficient. So I'm kind of looking forward to doing those again. It's almost like a very running specific strength training. But you don't have to go to the gym, which you can't do now anyway. But and then he also recommends. I don't know if you've ever tried this, Brett, but downhill like strides or sprints, where you're doing the same
Um.
thing but you're running downhill.
Um. Yeah. I will say that my plan is not as intricate as yours. I'm going to be increasing mileage with no set plan.
Yeah,
To be honest, it's going to be increasing it probably to 5-6 miles a day, probably 6 days a week. Continuing my core.
yeah,
Um, Also, I think hills, because I did Nike plan for the main marathon, and I did hills once a week,
yep,
and so I will be incorporating hills. But until I have an actual goal, I'm not going to have a plan. I do, of course, as I told you before, I've been intermittent fasting for 2 years now, 6 days a week. So that right there has kept the weight off for me. Um,
yeah. I mean, do you do that even when you're like in the thick of training for something? Like, do you
I
still
do
fast?
it. I fast no matter what I'm doing year
Wow.
round, 6 days a week, training or not. And again, it's a 16 to 17 hour period of not eating. Um, but I will be increasing mileage, and then when I do have an idea of if a race might happen, I'll start actually training. And we can discuss training plans later on
Yeah.
in a future episode.
Yeah. Oh
But
yeah. A few episodes, I think.
yeah,
Talking about training
but
plans.
I think you and I are a little bit, you and I are the point is you and I both are have the same kind of goal, but you're gonna follow a plan. I'm not gonna really follow a plan until I have an actual goal.
Yeah. Okay. So on that, if back to motivation, if I have a
Right.
plan and the plan says today you're doing this, I'm much more likely to get out the door and do it than if I'm just like, oh, I gotta, I just want to do some running this week, and when am I gonna do it? Am I gonna do it today? I don't know. I'm
Right.
much more likely to not get out the door on a consistent basis if I don't have a plan. Whereas, like the plan I'm doing, like yeah, it's to get you like close to like race shape, but it's not. It's not like a hardcore plan. It's like an intermediate competitive plan. And
Yeah.
I chose this one, and even that actually might be like I definitely have to like tone it down because I am out of shape. My muscles and my I am worried about getting injured. You know, but I can't do the if you look like for plans of like getting back into running, it's like all like walking, and so I can't do
The
it.
walk jog
I
thing.
can't I can't do it. Yeah, I just
Couch to
yeah.
5K.
Like, look, if I don't want to disparage that because I'm sure that's the smart way to do it is to start with walking, then you go to jogging, and then you get up to running. But I can't do the whole walking thing. I feel like it's ridiculous. And if I'm not running 3 miles or close to 3 miles, I'm like, what am I even doing? I know that's like the wrong attitude to have, but like, I feel like I can at least do close to 3 miles any given run. I don't know.
Yeah, I know, and
Yeah,
no, I understand what you're saying. But I will say that, like, if I had your plan, that still, for myself, that would not motivate me enough because there's no overall goal. My
yeah.
goal right now is basically to complete the 41-day streak.
Well, that's right. Yeah, you
Like
have your
like
streak.
anything I can get at my hands, like an actual goal, like I need something.
Yeah,
And for me to have a plan, I can have a plan in front of me, but if I don't have an actual like end
yeah,
game to it, I can't do it.
yeah, yeah. I want to walk back my comments a little bit. So about the whole like walking thing,
Oh, oh
like
well.
I think in high school, my cross country team like had this thing where like if you stopped to walk, you were like mentally weak, and you were like shamed on the team. So I think that's kind of like stuck with me. That's maybe why. Like I do know that there's a whole like there's like I forget who the guru is, but there's a pretty famous coach who like his whole thing is you take walk breaks. I forget what his name is. Do you know who I'm talking about? He's a pretty his plans have gotten press, but that's his whole thing where you stop and you take walking breaks. I don't know. I just can't get
I
my head
mean,
my head over that
Doug, it
the
is
walking.
again, it's all about preference. I mean, you have the small minority of people who are runners, and walking is not really an option. But for the majority of people, that is what is going to get them out there. Um,
Yeah,
is in some sort of shape or motivation is a walking or a walk jog. Um, that's just how people work. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I understand what you're saying. If I go out there and I'm not doing 3 miles when I'm running, I'm wondering what am I doing? But I will walk home about 15, 20 minutes to add to.
Okay, right. Yeah, yeah,
Because the goal for me is basically being outside, active an hour a day.
yeah,
That's my goal
yeah,
every day.
yeah. That's
So my
good. That's great.
motivation is, you know,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. So for you, you're just gonna be doing your like what do you say like 5 to 6 days a week you're
I'm
running.
going to say 5, 6 days a week, with, I say, probably at this point coming up soon, probably 4 to 6 miles in the next month, about 15, 20 minutes of core, um, and continuing to fast 6 days a week. And so far, it's kept me in check.
Yeah, that's great. I do want to talk about some of the supplemental work, like
Okay.
strength training, core work, and that kind of thing. That's
Yep.
that's another episode idea. Good thing I have a notebook beside me here. But okay, it's been an hour, so let's go ahead and wrap things up. You've been
All
listening
right.
to Brett L. Macy of Dover, Maine, and Doug Pierce of Staten Island, New York. Brett, any final words before we end the stream?
Final words. Keep at it.
You're the
Find,
best.
you're the best. Find motivation.
Yeah.
Cheating.
And if you do, so we're going to be coming to you. The plan is every Monday. We had to throw things off because my work schedule a little bit this week. But the plan is to do the show every Monday at 9 o'clock. So if you are interested in getting notifications when we go live, or seeing our past streams, when we do have more past streams, go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube and click the little bell icon next to subscribe so you get notified when we do go live. And I actually didn't schedule this one. I should have scheduled this one ahead of time, but I'm still getting used to this, still new to this. So we'll try to have a little more production behind us too next time. So anyway, keep running, and we will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Guys.